Today is day 8 of the June95 10-day retreat in Springwater. On this cloudy, sunny, breezy, cool and hot Sunday morning, where are we? Right now. Expecting a talk, that can be felt. The body-mind oriented toward receiving something. And the birds singing. The wind in the trees, leaves rustling. Caw, caw, caw. It's there, isn't it? So is the breathing and heartbeat and awareness of simply sitting here, being here. That's there, isn't it? Effortlessly there. Sometimes people say, I don't want to entertain a question. That's too much. Just sitting quietly, present, is enough, isn't it? Sitting quietly, present, birds singing, leaves rustling, breath flowing, without really knowing any of this. Through the interpretive mind, just allowing it all to happen, as it is happening, effortlessly, this instant. That need not be formulated into a question. When the mind doesn't know what is there to ask, but listen and being here. By listening, I don't mean just the ears. It's the leaves, the birds. No, it's not the birds and the leaves, not the words. It's this total movement of liveliness, without needing to separate out any one thing. No need to focus on anything. Not awareness of the sounds. It's awareness. Let everything happen as it does, naturally, spontaneously, freely. Is that possible? This moment, just this moment. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, not my whole life, but now. a question that has come up for several people since the beginning of retreat. It's come up in group and privately. Is what is right livelihood? Or putting it in less formal terms, what to do with my life? What should I do for a living? How to earn my keep? And what is the relationship of retreating in silence? 10 days, 7 days, several times a year. What is the relationship of that with my daily life? Many people say, I don't see much relationship between the two. It's either the one or the other. And yet the yearning whether this could be in some way brought together. A spacious openness of listening and being with having to work for money, for a product, for rewards. Always with the threat of disapproval hanging over one, succeeding or failing. All those programs manifesting abundantly in our daily life. Manifesting here too, but maybe with a possibility to be seen, illuminated, as we've said. Seen freely as the wind and the leaves. The desire for approval and the fear of failure. The anxiety about the future. So many people manifest that. What will happen to me in the future? Will I keep my job? Will I continue being able to do this job, which I don't really like? So many aspects of it. Which I can't approve of anymore. Can't feel comfortable with. And the mind projecting all this uncertainty and the body manifesting dis-ease at the thoughts of the future. Or the future as soon as when I come back from retreat, how will it be at work? Facing the office again, the students, the family. So, is there such a thing as right livelihood? Which has something wholesome about it. Not cut off from the life of retreating in silence and quiet looking and listening. As this question comes up, what is right livelihood? What should I do? Should I continue? Change my job? Move somewhere else? Come to Springwater? Is the mind indeed jumping right into what I could be doing that would be better? And also jumping into what's all wrong with the world, with my job, with the people, with the supervisors and the bosses and the customers, the clients, the patients. And those thoughts of what's wrong with the world, or what I could do with my life, keeping this organism riled up, agitated, not free to ponder, free to look and wonder. Wonder about where my questions are coming from. Not just my questions, but my way of looking, my way of speaking and presenting the problem to myself, me and my life, my livelihood. The separation ingrained in our expressions. And with that ingrained expression, constantly convincing ourselves there is someone separate from my life, my job, my satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Someone separate from this world which has gone so wrong, is so impossible to deal with, to live in. Are we indeed separate from that? We're free to question it here. Free to dialogue about it if we don't agree what is being said, to bring up other things, other points of view. It's all open. And nothing is laid down for as dogma or to believe or to accept and adopt as the truth. So we're questioning this whole way of presentation to ourselves and to each other. That there is an I separate from my life that I have to lead, and separate from the world out there, the society in which I live. Them against me. So, you see, before we can go into what is right livelihood, we have to find out what I am. Who feels this great need and urge and yearning for right livelihood? Out of what? A sense of apartness, loneliness, isolation, isolated with my yearnings, my feelings. And out of that, wanting to find the right occupation. To what? Help abating the loneliness, the meaninglessness of my life, which I may feel so painfully. Do I hope that an occupation or a change of jobs will relieve that? Pain of loneliness, or the guilt that I may feel at having done things wrong, the guilt at not doing enough for the world, guilt for the pain suffered by human beings. What can I do to alleviate that? Or to alleviate my own feelings of guilt and separation, to feel more fulfilled in this aching shallowness that we feel so much of the time. Fill it with people, fill it with work, and it doesn't do it. So what is right work for me, who is achingly lonely and empty, feeling isolated from this world which I abhor? I'm not speaking for myself, for all of us. Not all of the time. I'm not saying this is so for everybody all of the time. What comes out of a talk is what comes out of our meetings and listening to each other and put out here for general open inspection and questioning. So can we answer this question about what is right livelihood in any intelligent way without finding out what we ourselves are, who is the seeker of that, the yearner for it? What is that? What am I? Not just in superficial manifestations that we have listed. So much fear of the future, so much fear of the world out there, fear of myself. And is that all there is to me? All these manifestations of past impressions, memories, anticipations, identities. We spent a whole morning talking about this emotional, energetic investment in identity. What I am, all the multiple pictures and ideas, seeking security from this and always in danger of being shattered in it. Is that all I am? The separate identity. Me as a woman. Me as a man. Me as old, middle-aged, young, teenager. All these identities and all the thoughts and ideas and emotions that go with it. The fears. The desire for something different. To be younger, to be older. The job we have is the identity with that, or trying to dissociate oneself from that identity, seeking another one, which may be more satisfactory. Or can we begin by question everything I know about myself as being what I truly am? This instant of trees waving in the breeze. Not just trees are waving, everything is waving. Shades and hair and words. Have you watched at times, it's so nice to watch the trees out the north or south or east or west, seeing this infinite movement. Everything is moving in harmony. Nothing that is not moving and nothing that is interfering with total movement, including the movement of the breathing. And clouds and grasses. And little chipmunk nibbling hastily the flowers in the water. And yet beholding it all quietly. All the infinite movement, inside, outside, beholding it wholesomely, quietly, openly. Not as words, but as a state of being. It's a bad word. It doesn't cover it. A being, a momentary being, which does not count time, long or short. And this observation of total, wholesome, complete movement inside and outside. Comes on its own when there isn't this cocoon-like enclosure in what will I do with my future, with my life, my pains, my past, my uncertain future. Those thoughts spin and spin and spin like a web around this mind and body, so that it's not open to participate and behold total movement everywhere in stillness. And yet it dawns on ordinary human beings, like those of us sitting here in this airy hall. It dawns that maybe we are not just idea and image and collection of the past, projections into the future with all its pleasures and pains. Maybe that is just the surface ripples and bubbles and foam. And what's below the surface? Are we listening? With self-concern? Thought may pop up at this question, well, am I concerned about myself right now? Let the question go and listen to the doors clunking. Letting go of worries about oneself, seeing the web and not caught in it, in the seeing, in the being. Not the words, but listening to the wind and shades and doors. So the question which comes right now out of our original question, what is right livelihood? This question emerges. Is it possible at whatever we are doing this moment, of course right now we're just sitting and listening, but when we get home or when we work in the kitchen doing the dishes, vacuuming the floor, cleaning the toilets, stirring the soup, or serving soup from a ladle into a bowl held by the hand. Is it possible in whatever activity may be going on or non-activity to be there this moment wholesomely? Not just as my worry about myself and my future life, but ladling, cleaning, vacuuming, washing, the feel of the water splattering on dishes and hands, the sound of the machine, the humidity of the room, maybe sweat pouring down the face and body. Being all of that, wholly, completely. Then what is the problem with what I may be doing this moment? Of nowness. Someone said, I don't feel any more ambition, no motivation to do anything. Not just one person mentioning that. It comes up, particularly when one is engaged in this work where maybe ambition and motives are seen through and questioned, and maybe lose their unconscious grip, at least for times. And I'm wondering whether at a moment of washing a dish or wiping a sink, whether any motive is necessary other than this amazing, mysterious energy of being here, holy. Not just worried about me and those other people out there who are so hard to live with, who have so many problems. Let's experiment with it, find out, for moments at a time, whether at a moment of complete engagement, but I don't mean just absorption to the point of not hearing wind and water, but the openness of being here. Whether at that moment any motive is needed, or whether the energy that has been conditioned and tied up in ambition and motivation is freed just to be here, with the hands moving over a dish under the water. One person in a group in which this came up said, on Monday morning, I hate the idea of driving in to do my job. There's a resistance, no motive, no motivation. I don't know whether that's the word that was used. And yet then doing it, being there with it, it's all right, it's no problem. It's even fun. And talking with another person who has been considering leaving the job. But what would one do instead? Is one ready for something else? What would it be? It should be something of service. Although what this particular person is doing now is also service. What we came to in talking about it, looking at it with real interest, with concern, entering into this problem, which is just not one person's problem who comes into the room, but it's a human problem. It's our problem, not mine as distinct from other people's who are so different. So looking at it, what we came up with is, as long as I'm here with what I'm doing, can I really be here? But if I cannot be here, if it's too painful, too impossible, too conflicting, what the kind of work I do, thinking about what it may contribute to, or whatever all one's considerations may be, then leave it. Leave it clean and do something else. And in doing that something else, can one do it and not think of what else I could be doing? This is how we tear ourselves apart. Not just in job considerations, but whatever we're doing. Are we with it or thinking about what else we ought to be doing or could be doing or should be doing? And therefore neither with what's here now, nor with possibly being able to be with the next job. It's not there, it's only in imagination. So is that a new flowing art or skill to be with this moment, noticing full well the conditioning to think of the next moment. And in seeing that movement, saying no to it and staying with what's here. Understanding intelligently that thinking about the next job distracts from doing this and causes anxiety and restlessness. Not this quietness that one may be experiencing here every once in a while in a retreat where one has no choice but being here, or in the imagination, of course. But that reveals itself more clearly in a retreat than at work. Or does it? So where are we right now? And what are we right now? Our imagined and remembered and known personalities? Or this wild wind and the building and the trees, the sky, clouds and earth and the water sputtering over the rocks? All beheld silently. Do I hear someone say you are talking of an unpopulated world, of water and grasses, clouds and trees, maybe a chipmunk? It's the people I have problems with, not the trees. One person told me, in having all this time, which sometimes seems too much time in a 10-day retreat, to look at stuff, I've found that there's no relationship with other people with whom I don't have problems. Not one relationship with someone else in which there isn't some conflict or another. So is it possible to live wholesomely with people with whom we have conflicts? What does it mean I have a conflict with someone? Let's look at it. Let's open it up. Be with it. And let the wind blow. It doesn't have to be excluded. What does it mean I have conflicts or problems with this person? And we're looking honestly, not in order to build ourselves up or put ourselves down or try to build or put down the other person. We're examining what at the moment of experiencing or imagining conflict and problems with another, what is going on in internal movements. Does it mean this person is not the way I want her or him to be? I can't have my way with this person. I want things to be this way, but he or she wants it a different way, and the clash is on. I don't like his personality. I don't like her features. her this, her that, underhandedness or meanness, dominance, bossiness. And the challenge of this moment is it possible to be with someone or more than one, and for moments at a time, in the imagination or in the direct encounter, allow him or her to be as they are, without the thought beginning to spin, I hate this, or I wish he was different. If only she was different, then I could get along with her. So is it possible to allow each other to be as we are this moment? And we will find that we don't really know how he is or she is because we have already such ingrained ideas about him or her, which act as a filter on our perception, a distorting filter. I can't really see him who I haven't liked or her whom I've hated in a new way, unless there is a moment of complete letting be, inwardly and outwardly. Is that possible? Allowing to be as one is, oneself, with open eyes, not with shutters on, to see it and let it be. In the breeze of birds singing and sun shining, clouds hiding. Being what one is without needing to name it, without needing to recognize it. Recognizing each other, by that I mean, of course we know whom we know and who is a stranger to us. Of course, that's right there in the helpful conditioning of the brain. But there is more than just remembering this person. There is immediately, oh, he is like that, and I'm like this, and this is this condition which I know from way back, and stamping it with recognition, which means not being in touch with the way it is in movement, because we're always in movement. People and conditions never stay the same from one instant to another. But this recognition stamp seems to arrest artificially what may be in movement. Maybe. Because a person having very strong ideas about herself or himself may also not allow himself to be seen freshly, because the ideas dominate. But can we loosen it up by wondering whether it's possible to meet each other anew for one moment, of letting recognitions arise and pass and taking a second look, inwardly, outwardly. It's the same looking. And what appears is also the same, because what we hate in other people, we don't see in ourselves, or have suppressed in ourselves. Not intentionally, not consciously, these things happen due to millions of causes and circumstances. No one's fault, no one's guilt. So can we behold each other, these so-called other people, as they are in their conditioned ways, as we are in our conditioned ways. I was going to say lovingly, but is that asking too much? Maybe it is asking too much. Although out of a space of no webbing and self-concern, lovingness may arise spontaneously. Compassion for conditioning, which one knows so well in oneself, how tough it is, how hard, how seemingly immovable, but only seemingly immovable. It is not totally immovable. So, can there be a sparkling of compassion for each other, for each other's conditioning, seeing it as that, training, programming, through reward and punishment, all the means in which this fragile, sensitive body-mind becomes rigid, ingrained, seeing it compassionately in ourselves and each other, without needing to do a thing about it other than beholding it. That beholding wholesomely has its own right action. Nothing needs to be contributed from the I, the me that thinks in terms of improvement. That's far too limited. Thinking in terms of improvement or straining to be compassionate and yet resenting at the same time. That needs to be illuminated as conditioning operating in oneself and each other. And seeing it freely. So, where are we? What are we right this moment? Before we know. We will end here for today.